It is time for a little News Channel 20 NCAA bracket breakdown as we head into the first weekend and the second round of the tournament. I will break down my picks for the first weekend, and let's start with the East and, of course, where Illinois is. Now, this first game, I'm not going to overthink. UConn, I have them in my title game. You got to ride with Dan Hurley and the Huskies. Final Four pick and a title game pick for me. This second one, though, I might have overthought it a tiny bit. However, we're going to ride with Yale. We're going to have them pulling off another upset. Thought extremely highly of the SEC champs Auburn, but Yale, they pull that upset off. I think that Cinderella run continues. Now, Illinois fans, I do like Illinois versus Duquesne, but I also think this will be another stressful game for the Illini. I would not be all that surprised to see the Dukes up at the break, but I do think that Shannon, Damask, Danger, and the rest of the Illinois squad have been scoring at an incredible rate, especially in the second half. Ride with Illinois. Fourth one, gonna ride to the book, be a little chalky. Iowa State, this is a great basketball team, and there's just no mistakes about it. And I feel like I'd be a little crazy to not have a team that beat Houston by 28 in the Big 12 title game, moving them into the Sweet 16. Let's switch over to the West now. So, first team in the West, again, gonna ride with a 1 seed. No, we're not. UNC is going down to Michigan State. Tom Izzo in March is one thing that I bet against in my original bracket. I'm not going to do it again. UNC is a very hard team to bet against. 1 seeds in general, though, had their most dominant first round since 2001, and I think that's got everyone a little too confident, feeling a little too safe with the Tar Heels. I think they're going down to Tom Izzo and Michigan State. Now, prediction number 2, although Alabama's defense isn't that great, hasn't been that great lately against Charleston and their other opponents, I do think that 109 points in that offense as a whole will be too much for Grand Canyon to handle. This one I may regret, but I'm going to ride with Alabama and hope that offense is dialed in. Now this third one here, I'm a Clemson hater. Just kind of what it is. I didn't think they would advance for the first time, but I'm going to go with Baylor here. Be super straightforward. I like Baylor a lot, and I think Clemson, being one of the teams that actually moved on and overperformed out of the ACC, is going to be one of the reasons why Baylor is moving on. Finally, here in this region, I have Arizona moving on, and really, they opened up the day against Dayton and won, so didn't really matter if I got the one right. It already happened. So we'll move on now to the next region, and I'm going to stop being risky with my 1 seeds. We're just going to have Houston move on. Again, I do think A&M is a scary team to go against in that first round, but I have Houston taking care of business. Move on to James Madison and Duke, and I do have James Madison going on. Duke going down. This is going to be a game of the weekend candidate. I am riding with the Dukes, pulling off the upset and moving on to the Sweet 16. Now, in the battle of double-digit seeds, I'm going to side with NC State. They have had a streak of beating Duke, UVA, UNC, and Texas Tech in their past 4 games, and I'm just not going to bend against them just yet. Simple as that. Moving on, Marquette. I think they're going to handle business against Colorado, be another team that could be in for a little bit of a scare, but I also think that they're going to feed off a strong second half against Western Kentucky and, well, carry that momentum into the next round. Final region, going over to the Midwest now, and this is the region I probably have as being the most straightforward. I think Purdue will beat Utah State. I don't think there's going to be too much to overthink there, and I think Purdue will now be the team they're supposed to be, a top team with arguably the best player in the country. And I also have Gonzaga advancing. This game is going on currently right now. This is a high-scoring game off the bat, but I think the loss of Kevin McCullough Jr. is just too much for the Jayhawks, and I do think that they squeaked by in that first one against Samford. Don't necessarily know if they should have. There was a rough call there. Could have gone either way, but I think the Jayhawks have that catch up with them, and they'll be out here against Gonzaga. Now, my game of the weekend, a coin toss in my eyes. If I'm wrong here, I'm wrong. I have Creighton. It really could be Oregon. Oregon is hot. Creighton is a part of a Big East trio that I really see is trying to prove something right now as a conference that might have got snubbed a little bit coming into the tournament, so I'll side with Creighton. Now, finally, I'm going with Vols. Again, another one I don't want to overthink too much. The Battle of the Orange will go the way of Dalton Connect and Tennessee. But let's check in on our News Channel 20 Tournament Challenge. Unfortunately for me as our other sports guy, giving credit to Dante Furco, our sports director, he's in first, tied with Stacey Skryzak at 260 points, 10 points for each win in this tournament challenge. Each person could and most did enter two brackets, I should say, into the challenge. I, fortunately, though, am hanging in there. Both my brackets in this competition are now tied 6th, with UConn and Houston being my 2 potential champions, UConn the one represented there. But that'll be really all we have here, and as long as the schedule permits, I'll try to bring you an update after each round with my picks and, well, how everyone here at News Channel 20 is faring against the big dance.